Okay, so first, YRAG. Why do we need it? Okay, so consider we have a user here, nice user, who is talking to an LLM. Okay, a large language model. This is the large language model. A box is a large language model because it's a black box. We don't know what's happening within it. So it's a box. Now, when you query an LLM, two things happen, or there are two obvious limitations. The first one I've shown here. This is ChatGPT, and I asked it, "What is your training data cutoff date?" It said August 2025. Yeah, remember August 2025. So if I ask it questions about events or things after August 2025, it will do one of the two things. One, it will guess or hallucinate. The second one is it will use tools and search the internet. Okay, so the first one is, let me change the color, training data cutoff. Okay, so as I mentioned in the second part, what it can do is it can have access to tools and it might search the knowledge. So if I ask it something like, who is the winner of 2026 uh, English Premier League? Yeah, ignore the spelling. So it is searching the web. This is very important. Okay, and the winner of the 2025 season is Arsenal. So it was able to query the internet and get the data. But this data is in the public domain, that is, it's available on the internet. But consider you're working in a corporate environment or you're working in your own office. You have policy documents, you have compliance documents, you have your own knowledge bases that won't be available on the internet. So even if it does a search, it does not have access to private data. No access to private data, absolutely no. So the thing which it did here, it went and saw that Arsenal won the league, as depressing as it may be. It cannot do that for private databases, private data sets. So what is the solution? The solution is something called as RAG. So then what is RAG? So this user, instead of querying the LLM, what the user would do is send that query to a RAG system, and that RAG system would give back some context, and then this query plus context. The query plus context is sent to an LLM, and the LLM would answer back. So this is the problem which RAG solves. The data which it doesn't have access to, you can give it access. Your private knowledge bases, your private documentation, and most of the industry use cases I think are still around this only. So now you may ask that, okay, so let me do one thing. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll try to pinch and zoom somewhere else. It's surprisingly hard to do it on this tablet. Okay, but yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so let me take it here. Yeah, now you may ask, first, why build RAG instead of passing docs docs directly? Yeah, this is a valid question. Instead of passing docs directly, because modern LLMs have large context windows, say 1M or more than that, something like that. So 1M is a context window, so it can fit a lot of data. There's two issues. Okay, the first one is token burn. LLMs are not cheap. The token, the cost of usage is going up and up and up. So if you continue to pass entire documents. Everyone tries to pass documents to this person. So consider you have a team of 10 people and they upload 10 documents continuously to an LLM. That is very expensive and you don't even need probably the entire thing. Yeah. So the first is token burn. The second one is data security. Yeah, data security. I don't know why I keep like I'm not this bad at spelling, but I think it's just something why using this setup which I have. So data security is the biggest concern. That every time you upload a private document, you won't be allowed to do that. There would be sensitive information which you do not want to leak. So, for example, if you're working in banking or any regulatory setup which has high security, for example, government offices and all, obviously you won't be allowed to upload documents. So that is why RAG comes in handy. So it's a very popular technology. As I mentioned, a lot of the industry use cases are around RAG, and it is important to study it. So this series we would be covering all about RAG. This was an introductory video, and as I mentioned, I uh, I'm testing this setup. So it's basically a tab for those who cannot see it. This is what I was typing on, and this is what I used actually, and I was trying to explain the RAG, no, the problem which RAG solves. So the first problem it solves is the private knowledge bases. You can pass it as a context or additional information based on which the LLM can process your data and help you build smarter systems internally. So a good case would be, for example, you have documentation of your project, right? So you can pass the documentation, or you can train a RA, you can build an RA system around that and build a chatbot on top of your documentation. So people don't have to read the documentation; they can just ask the chatbot about it. So this is about RAG, and more importantly, it's the modern with the modern LLM context size, you may ask why do we even need it? Because building RAG itself is a technical challenge, right? There is multiple. We will see the components and all, but the main is token burn and the data security part. So these are the two reasons why we should consider building RAGs. And in the future, the next videos which will come in the series, we'll give it a bit. We will go in a bit more deep dive around this topic.